Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 4057. Today's date is uh, May 16, 2026. It's been almost like a morning at 7:37 a.m. All right, let's just jump into the question. Let's go. Okay. By the way, I'm reading this new book. Okay, yeah. Seven Habit of Highly Effective People. This book that I was not reading for almost like a week probably, yeah, almost like a 2 3 days I was not actually kind of like not reading this book. And also is this thing na ki the book is kind of like a bouncing like I'm not really understanding the concept and things and that. And also reading this book is not really priority for me. Okay, yeah, like basically right now it's very priority for me to read this book. Okay, this is the my book that I'm wrote, My Artifact. This is the volume number 10. Okay, this is my name. So basically if you want this book, okay, yeah, this kind of like book is actually available on Amazon KPD. Okay, yeah, you just go there and buy there. Okay, yeah. So basically this is a kind of like a very essential book for me and very priority for me. If I have to be read the book, I have to first read my own book. Okay, yeah. And kind of like somebody, like if I'm not really reading the book, how will I supposed to correct my book? And if I'm not reading the book, how will I supposed to correct? I will not gonna publish. And if I'm not gonna publish, yeah. So instead of kind of like a reading someone else's book, at least I could supposed to be kind of like a read my book and kind of like a do the changes and things and that and kind of like upload the book. Okay, because I have almost like a 45 edition. This is a volume 45 volume. There is a volume number 10. Okay, yeah. So there is a lot of kind of like a books are still remaining that I have to be upload, and the only will gonna upload happen when I read the entire. Okay, yeah. And each book is almost like a 500 pages, literally 500 pages. Okay, yeah. So very lot of kind of like a data. So I'm actually focused on kind of like a reading my book first, and then I will kind of like a read the other books. Okay, yeah. So I dropped this Seven Habit of Highly Effective People book. Okay, yeah. And I might gonna read when I will have, I don't know, but this is very much priority for me. Okay, I don't really have any time to kind of like read the book and read that book and kind of like somebody read this book and then kind of like somebody that key the app development and things and that. So there is a lot of thing actually happening. Priority for me is that keep building application and kind of like a read this book. Okay, yeah, because my entire day is actually spending on kind of like a building the application on Android Studio. So so basically that is also very essential. So I have to spend at least like a 1 hour of reading this book, and then after that okay. So basically I'm kind of like a thinking about what's kind of like a priority for me and kind of like a simply implement that thing first. Okay, so I'm reading this book. Okay, yeah. It kind of like a feel like a guilt for me to I haven't really read my previous book. Okay, so but still reading meant to be, it's not meant to be kind of like complete the book. It's meant to be kind of like a get the knowledge. Okay, yeah. If the knowledge is kind of like a bouncing off, then probably sometime you have to move on and things and that. Okay, yeah. Sometime book is not helping you that much. So, or maybe there are so many things are actually with your life. So whatever. So this is the book that I'm reading. Okay, yeah. It's been almost like a almost like a 400 pages I already read. Almost like a 50 or 100 pages are still remaining. Okay, yeah, which will kind of like a done within maybe tomorrow. Till tomorrow I will complete this book, and then yeah. All right, so should we jump to the question? All right, the question is that, okay, I wrote the question in here. Okay, yeah. What if the privacy fail? Okay, yeah. First of all, I'm gonna kind of like took this book aside. By the way, this is a very big book. It's not a big book. When you buy the book, it's a kind of like a short book. Like it's a print. Okay, yeah, it's a print. So that's why it kind of like something that big. But actual book is like a in 7 inches book. Okay, yeah. Okay, so what if the privacy fail? Okay, yeah. Now, first of all, what exactly is this question, and why am I asking this question to myself? I wanted to build an app called My Artifact. Okay, what exactly is this application? When you write the diary every single day, you cannot able to be write the diary the way that you wanted to. The reason is that the way that you think is much more faster than way that you write. When you write, you cannot able to be write that much faster is because of that there is a lot of constraint. You need a pen, you need a paper, you need a convenience, spelling mistake and lot of things, and that's why your thoughts will never be printed on paper that much, because the kind of like a writing speed. And because of this thing, very less people are kind of like a writing a diary, almost no one at all. So what if I am thinking that what if I would change the writing a diary to recording a diary, like a audio recording a diary. Okay, I call this artifact, audio record. I call this artifact. The stuff that you are kind of like listening right now, this is my artifact. My artifact episode number 4056, 56, 57. And I am doing this thing for past 11 years. I am doing this thing every single day, and because of this thing it adds so much amount of value inside of me. Writing a diary or recording a diary or recording artifact is a self-reflection process. Okay, yeah, you actually connect with yourself more, and because of this artifact it adds so much amount of value inside of me. The person that I am today, the person that I will become tomorrow, it is all because of artifact. And I realized that how much like really amazing is this thing. I wanted to share this value so that people should supposed to be get. I wanted to share this technicality so that people should supposed to be get the value from the artifact. People should supposed to understand them more. People should supposed to connect with themselves more. So so basically, how do I supposed to share this technicality? By building an application. Okay, yeah. So how it actually happened? So my app is a kind of like a somewhat something like a YouTube platform. Okay, in the YouTube platform you can upload your video, other people sees your video. In my platform is the same. You record your artifact, upload your artifact, other people listen your artifact. Same as that. The one thing is that I'm kind of like a providing the privacy feature. Okay, yeah, that no one will gonna know who is exactly you. Like basically, if my name is Saurabh Bauthare, my real name is Saurabh Bauthare, but my artifact handle name would be a kind of like a Prozac 1943 or something else. Okay, so which is kind of like a some places thing that hide my privacy. Okay, hide my real name and things like that and that. So this is my application. Before I wanted to build this application, I wanted to know all the possible consequences. What might worst thing will gonna happen and how do I supposed to be overcome that. Okay, so I went to ChatGPT. I tell my idea about my application and things and that, and kind of like I said that he suggests me hundreds of all the possible wrong consequences and how do I supposed to overcome that. So ChatGPT kind of like suggests me hundreds of questions. This is one of those questions. By the way, the questions are actually in the mobile phone, but while recording I cannot do this thing, so I wrote question in here. Alright, so question is that what if the privacy got failed? Yeah, what if the privacy got failed? Okay, so what if the privacy got failed? This is kind of like a very tricky scenario. Okay, and when this thing will happen, everything is actually broke. Everything will gonna broke. Every effort that I did is broke. Okay, it's a very catastrophic situation. Okay, and in that situation I have to be shut down my services. Okay, stock market will gonna crash and I will gonna lose lot of amount of money. Maybe I will gonna go bankrupt too. Okay, yeah, literally just like there is a lot of fuck thing will gonna happen. Okay, yeah, because my entire application is actually based on privacy. Okay, yeah, but it's not that. Okay, yeah, and I don't want to make my application based on the privacy. Okay, And basically if I'm kind of like a keeping the privacy, like I'm kind of like a making sure that I will kind of like a make sure I will kind of like a hold your privacy and things and that, then things might go wrong, like things might goes wrong. People kind of like a did trust, they will not gonna trust me. So there is a lot of thing will gonna happen. Okay, yeah. And basically this thing, before you wanted to establish any kind of like a company or any kind of like a something, this thing, do not put all your do not put all your egg in one basket. That's a really important quote. Okay, yeah. So make sure that your egg should supposed to be kind of like a separated. Oh yeah. But still, if that consequences happen, what do I supposed to do, and how do I supposed to make sure that consequences will not gonna happen? How do I supposed to make sure that privacy does not gonna fail? How do I supposed to make sure that? Okay, yeah. So first of all, let me kind of like tell you what is actually privacy. Okay, yeah. And how is kind of like a privacy will kind of like only prevent the user. Okay. There are 5 layer of privacy which is default by every user. Okay, yeah. There is another 6 layer. That 6 layer is for the people who might think that voice might gonna recognize by the people. So probably for those people, that's a very different. Okay, yeah. We will talk later. Let's talk about those 5 privacy layer. Okay, first privacy layer. Okay, user will kind of like assembly login by Google. Okay, first of all, why does, if I'm kind of like giving the privacy, why am I kind of like a login through Google? Okay, is because of that ki I wanted a legit people who will kind of like record the artifact. Legit people means what? Like let me tell you one thing. If my application is anonymous and anyone can kind of like came and anyone can kind of like record the artifact and things and that, people might gonna misuse that thing. Okay, yeah, people will gonna talk shit, hate speeches, lot of stuff. And if I wanted to take the action, how do I supposed to take the action? Because that particular person is completely anonymous. Oh yeah, I don't want that. So basically being a kind of like a login through Gmail or Google, which will kind of like really help me who is that particular person, and if the particular person using artifact for wrong purposes, I will take action to that particular person, block his account or suspend his account or things like that and that. Okay, and basically it's a kind of like a peace of mind that if something goes wrong, I know who is kind of like responsible for that. So Google login is very much essential. Okay, so user will kind of like create the Google login, and after the login, basically user should supposed to be create a kind of like a username. Okay, yeah. Make sure that username should supposed to be different than your normal name. Okay, like basically this thing, maybe artifact will kind of like help you to find such a username, will kind of like somebody that key add a kind of like another privacy layer. Okay, like basically this thing, let's just say my real name is Saurabh Bothare, but my username would be Prozac 1943 or things and that. Okay, yeah, which would be completely different than my real name. Like basically you shouldn't supposed to be select a kind of like a username as a Saurabh underscore Lauthare. No, it's not. Okay, it's a real name. It's not. Okay, so basically this thing, kind of like a username should supposed to be completely different. Okay, this is the one thing. This is the first privacy layer. Second privacy layer is that you cannot able to be upload your profile picture. No, you create the avatar in the application. You kind of like create the avatar regarding about the avatar and things and look like that, and that avatar would be your profile picture. Okay, yeah. Why am I not allowing user to upload their profile picture? Same privacy layer. Okay, yeah. If the user can upload their profile picture, then might be other people will kind of like recognize you and things and that. So it is really essential that he make sure that he profile picture should supposed to be avatar. Second privacy layer. Third privacy layer. Okay, yeah. People will kind of like something when they record the artifact, they will kind of like get the warning screen. Okay, soon as they hit the record, there is a warning screen actually appear. Warning screen is kind of like says that do not mention your name or your location or your kind of like any kind of like information. Do not mention your name, nothing really at all. Just right before the recording artifact. Okay, it kind of like a user will kind of like get heads up regarding about that key what they shouldn't supposed to be do every single time. Okay, every single time they will gonna hit the record, they will kind of like get the warning screen, and in that warning screen it kind of like says that do not mention your name, and with the countdown. Okay, like a 10-second countdown. Okay, And basically user should supposed to understand ki they shouldn't supposed to mention their name and things and that. Okay, kind of like a making sure that ki like a implement ki like a privacy would not gonna fail before it kind of like happens. So this is kind of like a really good thing. Okay, yeah, though this is a kind of like a third privacy. Fourth, okay, yeah, fourth is that ki uh, user will kind of like record the artifact, but at the spur of the moment they might mention some sort of people name or things and that, which is kind of like a wrong. Okay, yeah, which is violate the privacy, which will compromise the privacy. So in that situation, app, what is at least this thing, app is a kind of like a app is a kind of like a convert audio into the text subtitle. Okay, and in that subtitle it found the noun. Noun means what? Like my name is a Saurabh Avthare. Saurabh Avthare is a noun. I came from Wardha, Maharashtra. Wardha, Maharashtra is a noun. Okay, yeah, I did college, I did my engineering from this Agnihotri college. So Agnihotri college is a noun. Okay, so these are kind of like a noun. And app will kind of like a trim that particular segment, like a Saurabh Avthare, it trim that particular segment and add the beep over there, like my name is beep, I am from beep, or maybe mute that particular segment. Okay, yeah, which would be kind of like a much more better. But it happened automatically, okay, yeah. So this is kind of like a fourth layer of privacy. Fifth layer of privacy. Fifth layer of privacy, artifact does not gonna went public. No, user should supposed to be listen their artifact first entirely. Okay, yeah, if the user will listen his artifact entirely, okay, yeah, and after they listen, they will approve that key this artifact went live or went public. Okay, yeah. Why am I kind of like a letting user to kind of like a simply listen his own artifact? It was very essential that key user will kind of like confirm that key whatever they kind of like a said, and they are bitterly comfortable to sharing this detail to the public. Okay, yeah. With there is no noun, there is no name, and nothing really at all. Okay, just to tell your story. Okay, yeah. And if the user are kind of like a bitterly comfortable, okay, that's fine. I listen my artifact. I'm really confirm. I'm kind of like a giving approve to kind of like a let my artifact went public, and then artifact went public. So these are the kind of like a 5 layer that kind of like a make sure that your privacy should not supposed to be compromised. Okay, yeah. There is another 6 layer too. Okay, these 6 layer like this, a 6 layer is not for everybody. It's for a kind of like a particular person who might think that key their voices might gonna kind of like a recognized by the people. So they will kind of like use a AI voice. Okay, yeah, AI voice will kind of like a somebody that key kind of like a replace your entire voice and kind of like a with the AI, so that AI would kind of like a simply that key like a basically AI would kind of like replace your voice. This is kind of like a simply the 6 layer of things, but this is not for everybody. It's for the kind of like a such a people who might think that their voice might gonna recognize and things, and that are for those people. And it's a very heavy processing things. Okay, because these are kind of like a process actually happen very easily, but this is kind of like implementing another AI to kind of like replace the entire voice. It's really required a lot of processing speed and things and that. So I might charge something, or maybe I don't know, but this is kind of like a very like a it's for the very selective people. Okay, yeah. So this is kind of like a that. So these are kind of like a 6 privacy layer. There are multiples of privacy layer we're gonna introduce in the future. These are the 6 privacy layer that I know today. In the future I might have multiples of different privacy layer too. Okay, yeah. Though making sure that key privacy will not gonna compromise. Okay, yeah, get it. But there is also one thing. Okay, yeah, how much you try to prevent your identity will gonna compromise. Okay, yeah. Why is that? Because you hide your identity. Let me tell you one thing what exactly happened. Okay, yeah. I already mentioned this example multiple times, but still again I mention. Okay, yeah. Let's just say is this thing that key you have a birthday. All right. Okay. So privacy, yes. Okay. So privacy is a kind of like a thing that how much you try to hide, how much you try to implement so many kind of like a security to hide your privacy and things and that, hide your identity and things and that, it will gonna compromise in the future. Why? Because you hidden it. Because you hide it. Let me kind of like a, it's a human psychology. Let me kind of like explain you in simple language. Okay. Yeah. I already mentioned, but still again I mention. You have a birthday, and someone kind of like a give you the box of a kind of like a wrapper box. Okay, like this much big box with kind of like a wrap with everything. Now that wrapper is a kind of like a looks really good. Like basically outside that wrapper kind of like a looks like luxury and things and that and that. Oh yeah. Because other boxes are just a kind of like a random card box, but this gift that you get with the wrapper, with a kind of like a really beautiful wrapper and things and that, and because of the wrapper is so beautiful, you are kind of like a thinking that this might be a very expensive gift I get, like a very expensive gift that I got on my birthday. Okay, yeah. So you are so curious to know that what is exactly behind that wrapper. Okay, yeah. And basically your curiosity has always been there. Soon as you kind of like a get the time, you will just wrap up that kind of like a wrapper, and then you kind of like a find the gift, and there is a train, and you are not really that much excited about the train because you already have a train. So basically this thing, why are you so excited before the wrapper, and after the wrapper why you are not excited? Because of that wrapper is a kind of like a create a excitement, create a kind of like a things that what is actually stuff that I don't know. Human mind are always curious mind, always wanted to know what is exactly the kind of like a things that people hidden it. Okay, yeah. Even if that information are people hiding it, it's kind of like a really not so stupid, or it's not really that much things, but people wanted to know why he's keep hiding that thing. I'm gonna kind of like give you another example. If you not really understand this thing, I'm gonna give you another example. Let's just say you went to the platform. Okay, yeah, you went to the railway station. You are kind of like standing on the platform, and you are kind of like seeing a particular person who is next to you, which is look like Donald Trump, like literally look like a Donald Trump, and you are so confused that this is not gonna Donald Trump. That particular guy would kind of like look like a Donald Trump. By the way, Donald Trump is a president of United States. Okay, yeah. So president of United States will not gonna travel by the local train, will not gonna standing on the platform over there. Okay, yeah. And this is the legit Donald Trump, by the way. This is the legit US president of Donald Trump. Okay, yeah. But because of the Donald Trump doesn't really have any security, doesn't really have anything at all. So you might thinking that okay, this is not gonna Donald Trump. It's just a kind of like a random guy looks like a Donald Trump, and you will not gonna that much excited. So from these two example, what do you understand? When you keep so much security, or when you keep lot of kind of like a try to hide the thing, people always wanted to know what's exactly inside that thing. Okay, yeah, inside the security or inside the hidden and things and that. But soon as you reveal that thing to the public, to in front of everyone, that thing that you hidden, it just doesn't really make sense at all. People are not trying to know you, people are not trying to things and that because it's always available. Let me tell you one thing, the information, the more you kept hidden, more chances that you has to be kind of like a get hack, or get kind of like a somebody pull out. Okay, yeah. People will always do. It's a human psychology. It's a kind of like a thing that people always wanted to know what's exactly they kept hidden. Okay, yeah. But if you are kind of like a giving this thing kind of like a somebody easily available, people are not kind of like a things. Okay, let me tell you one thing. How
हे ठेवतो हे पटक्याने होतं जमत होतं
Sorry about that. Okay. So what was I kind of like telling? I was saying that thing. The more you hide your privacy, the more people wanted to know you, and that's the truth. Okay. The more you have a security, more people are trying to compromise that security. That is the truth. Okay, because it's a thing. Okay. Basically, is this thing. This video. Okay. This video is on the YouTube platform for years. Okay. Like literally, why are you kind of like started watching this video? Okay. Like I already uploaded this video years ago. Okay. Like years ago means like from today's point, from your point of perspective. For my point of perspective is this thing that I will kind of like upload this video kind of like within a month, and it will be stay there. No one will gonna watch the video. No one. Yeah, literally no one. It is public, by the way, but no one will gonna watch the video. The only way that you will gonna watch the video when I already kind of like achieve something and things and that, and then you will watch the video. Okay. What I'm trying to tell you is this thing that if the treasure is in front of you all the time, you will not gonna steal that thing. Oh yeah, I uploaded this video on YouTube platform. You are not kind of like watching this video. You might gonna watch this video after years, literally. Oh yeah, 2-3 years, I don't know, but after years. And this video just kind of like stay there. This is kind of like a things. Okay, if you wanted to provide the better privacy, better security, make sure you have no security at all. If you have no security at all, you will kind of like defend that particular object or defend that particular thing much more. Okay, much more. Okay. So basically what I realized that what exactly is this thing? Okay. Artifact is not a kind of like a things that you have to keep hidden. Okay. Now at the beginning you might thinking that dude, like I'm actually telling my story and things and that and I wanted to keep hidden and things and that. Now let me tell you one thing. Who are you? Okay, if you are kind of like saying this thing, this is my identity, dude, I have to keep hidden. I kind of like said a lot of stuff regarding about my life and things and that I have to be kept hidden. So you are a kind of like a teenage boy, or maybe kind of like a people who are kind of like a less than 30 age. Okay, like less than 30 age, like under 30. Okay, let me tell you something regarding about that. After you cross age 30, there is a lot of change happen inside of you. Okay, you are seeing the world from very broad point of perspective. Broad. Okay, this will actually happen after 30. Before 30, you will not gonna kind of like think like that. You will kind of like thinking that your thought process are very narrow, very kind of like very narrow. You are not thinking from broad point of perspective. And why is that? Because of that, when you are kind of like under 30, you are always wanted to protect yourself. Okay, things and that because your identity and things and that. Basically, okay, I'm gonna thinking that I shouldn't supposed to be associated with this age. Okay, I think age is not the kind of like a things. I think that a kind of like a looking at the perspective. Okay, because of that if you are very much conservative and things and that and you are thinking that your privacy is very much essential because you kind of like said a lot of stuff, and you might think that might be other people might gonna kind of like see the world or see like listen my artifact, and they might kind of like judge me and things and that. This actually happened under 30. Like why am I kind of like somebody like pointing out the age number? Well, yeah, like basically is this thing somewhat something our human psychology is kind of like somebody matured with the age. Okay, and probably like some people might not, some people say this thing that it's not really that, it's a kind of like a surrounding situation that kind of like a came with the maturedness. That is also true. Yeah, that is, I'm not kind of like a most, I'm talking about the average point of perspective. Okay, yeah. So what I'm saying is that key basically is this thing, when you are kind of like a recording artifact, okay, yeah, and you are try to kind of like a prevent yourself, you are most likely a kind of like a teenage person and things and that. But when you cross 30, you realize that the stuff that you said in artifact is not really that much essential. It's a human, and we all kind of like do something stupid shit. Our 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 kind of like a secret is not even that much secret, literally. Yeah, it just like a, we are just a kind of like another human, and that's it. What if people might gonna know regarding about that ki I broke up with that particular girl? What will gonna happen? Nothing. It just, these are a very common thing. Okay, yeah, it's not a kind of like a very special thing that you have to kept hidden. Okay, for you, you are kind of like a kept hidden from a world point of perspective. It's just a common guy who kind of like a talk about his relationship issues and things and that, and it's not really that much kind of like a hidden. Okay, and also is this thing, let me tell you one thing. Artifact is not a kind of like a somebody is this thing that you tell your story. Artifact is a kind of like a, you actually connect with yourself, and when you try to connect with yourself, you kind of like a said such a thing that you are proud of yourself. Let me tell you one thing, you are kind of like a looking at me, listening this artifact. I am kind of like a talking this thing from my head, literally. Okay, there is no script in front of me. Why am I talking so good? Why am I kind of like a things and that and that? Is because of that key I am been doing this thing for past 11 year, and I understand that key if I said this thing, it adds so much amount of value, and I'm really proud of the stuff that I'm saying. And this is exactly happened when you record the artifact. You are really proud of yourself. You wanted to associate your identity with your artifact. You always wanted to associate your identity with your artifact, and that is a true. That's a completely legit true, by the way. It's just like that, na ki, like you will gonna talk so good. It's not really that you are kind of like talking about the secret, your secret, and all the time. No, it's a kind of like a things that na ki you, I don't know. Yeah, like basically it's just thing. Let me tell you one thing, na. I started recording artifact at the age of maybe 23, maybe 23 or 22. Yeah, in 2015. At that time, my age was almost like a 23 or 22 probably. Yeah, and at that time I was thinking that ki this is my artifact and I should supposed to be kept hidden. So I was kind of like kept it hidden. I have a kind of like, I save my artifact into my hard drive, external hard drive, that no one will kind of like simply see that hard drive. I kind of like lock that hard drive in my locker. Okay, literally, like not my locker, like basically like in my house there is a locker, and kind of like a father kind of like put the lot of ornaments and things and that. Okay, yeah. So I put my hard drive over there too, so that people will not gonna kind of like took at the hard drive and they will kind of like see and things and that. No, it's not. So like I was kind of like doing it that. Okay, yeah. For almost like a maybe like a 6 or 7 year. Okay, yeah. Like 6 or 9, like almost like 6 or 9, almost like a 7 year. Yeah. And after the 7 year, I realized that it doesn't really make sense at all. Okay, yeah. I have to be upload this artifact to the YouTube platform. Why? Because of that key, I wanted to share this technicality. I wanted to share this kind of like somebody what is actually artifact and things and that. Okay, yeah. And since then I kind of like decided that key I shouldn't supposed to be kind of like somebody that key kind of like a secure myself from who am I attacking, why does people are like, who will kind of people will gonna attack, what will they will gonna find out about my life. I am kind of like just a normal guy with kind of like a normal dream with a normal kind of like a things. I do talk about shit stuff. It's not really that I didn't talk. I do talk about shit stuff too. Okay, yeah. But it's not really that ki probably is this thing that I'm kind of like holding a lot of secret. I am not a terrorist. I'm not kind of like a thing that I have kind of like a nuclear codes and things and that. There's nothing really at all. Like basically I realized that ki the stuff that I would get when I share this artifact is much more than hiding my artifact, because it doesn't really make sense at all. Okay, like basically is this thing, my platform is not hiding the artifact, is kind of like a hiding your identity. But after you record, like basically there is a kind of like a very serious thing that I'm gonna say. If you are recording artifact for more than 5 years, there is a lot of changes actually happening inside of you. Okay, yeah. If you have to be consistent regarding about artifact every single day, okay, and if you are keep recording artifact for almost like a 5 year, there is a lot of changes will gonna happen inside of you, and that changes will kind of like a change you. It change your thought process, it change your looking at the perspective and things and that. You will not kind of like a somebody that ashamed of what exactly stuff that you said. You kind of like a think that this is my life, and yeah, it's messy, it's stupid, it's a shit, but it's my life. Okay, yeah. Why do I supposed to be kind of like hiding my identity? And then after that you realize that no, I shouldn't supposed to hide my identity. And artifact, my platform, is actually allow you to share your name. Okay, yeah, with your permission. I will not gonna do this thing because obviously I have to think about kind of like a millions of people point of perspective, and millions of people are wanted to keep their privacy hidden. Okay, yeah. But after a 5 year of recording, there is a lot of changes happen inside of you, and after that changes, okay, yeah, I wanted to kind of like something. I want you, if the user wanted that they don't want their privacy, they wanted to share their names and things with their profile things and that, there is a thing. So basically is this thing, after the 5 year, after the people kind of like a record artifact and things and that, and after the 5 year, people think that they wanted to share their name, things and that. Now after the 5 year, they could able to share their name, they could upload their profile photo, they could share their kind of like they could literally record the video and kind of like a talk about instead of audio. Okay, yeah. And kind of like things and that, which is kind of like a somebody is this thing that like in that situation, what will gonna happen, that particular person will talk something so good that might gonna shape the society, might gonna change the society and things and that, because he is not kind of like a hiding something, because there is no things to hide. Okay, yeah. He will gonna talk something regarding about such a thing that just imagine. Okay, yeah, a particular person who is a kind of like a really good at economics. Okay, yeah, and he been talking about the economics and things and that. Okay, yeah. For 5 year he's tried to kind of like a things, he was kind of like a talk about the economics and things, and basically he was kind of like a talking about the economics, the question that he asked regarding about the economics and things and that. Okay, yeah. Now after the 5 year, he experienced so much. Okay, yeah, that he was kind of like a something that he revealing his name and kind of like a talk about the economics. Okay, yeah, with his real name, identity, with a video and things and that. It adds so much amount of value to the society that people might gonna contact you and say this thing, dude, you are so expert in the economics, please would you come to us and kind of like help us with the economics and things and that. It might gonna add. And also let me tell you one thing, this is just a kind of like a somebody is this thing I'm saying from artifact point of perspective. From your point of perspective, oh my god, you might gonna do lot of things, because the stuff that you talk in artifact makes it will kind of like implement in the real life. Okay, yeah. I am really pathetic guy, dude. Like, what do you supposed to expect from? I am a kind of like a guy who's from the tier 3 city. Okay, yeah. I'm kind of like a my parents are not really that much kind of. I'm from middle class family. Okay, everyone around me here are just a kind of like a dreaming about a kind of like a typical life. That's it. Why the fuck I'm kind of like a thinking about that key, I will build Adam, Gurukul, Artifact, and I will kind of like some impact on the world and society. Why do I kind of like think like that? Am I kind of like a born on that way? No, it's because of Artifact would kind of like a letting me to believe that what could I supposed to be do. These are kind of like a changes that I get inside of me from the Artifact, and I am implementing the Artifact. I'm implementing this application. I will kind of like I will gonna build the Adam, I will gonna build the Gurukul, I will gonna build things that I wanted to achieve, my things and that. I have goals and things and that. And Artifact is kind of like helping me to achieve that goal. Artifact, the real value that you get from the Artifact in inside of you, and you will kind of like a more, Artifact will kind of like help you to achieve your goal more. This is kind of like a thing that I'm trying to tell you. Okay, yeah. So regarding about the privacy and things and that, basically it's this thing, at the beginning you will kind of like get all the privacy layer, all the things and that. But after you kind of like arrive at some sort of time, after you experience almost like a 4 and 5 year, you will gonna kind of like somebody, if you want that key, there is changes happen inside of you, and if you want that, you don't want any kind of like a privacy, I wanted to share my real name and things and that with your permission, my platform will allow you to share your name, your profile photo, your everything. You could kind of like upload your video and kind of like upload as a video artifact, and you could kind of like upload your video artifact too, so that other people kind of like resonate from you and things and that. Okay, but still it's not really that key I will kind of like use this feature, I will kind of like implement this feature for everybody. Okay, yeah. Because of that, it's not really kind of like somebody is this thing that key user are kind of like decide that key they will want they will not want their privacy and things and that people will gonna utilize this privacy for you, people will kind of utilize the non-privacy thing for wrong reason too. Okay, yeah. Like basically is this thing, it's not like that key user will kind of like decide that key okay I will not gonna use the privacy and things, and no, like basically artifact will try to understand you that key are you legit person. Legit person means what? That are you kind of like somebody that particular person that you might think that key you could able to be kind of like share your name and things and that. Okay, because I have to be think about that point of perspective too. Like basically this thing, even if you're really comfortable to share your name, but you might not gonna know that what might gonna possibility will gonna happen. Okay, or maybe you are not ready for that and that. Okay, artifact try to understand you and things and that, and then will try to tell you things. Okay, yeah. So basically this thing, what I'm saying is that ki what if the privacy fail, I am making sure that ki privacy should supposed to be happen less, okay, or not more than that. Okay, because I created this platform to kind of like a connect with yourself, and artifact is actually connect with you. Okay, yeah, it will kind of like a, there is a one person is kind of like always be with you, and you will not gonna talk about that particular person, and who is that particular person is you, literally you. Artifact is actually try to connect with you, and that's the kind of like a things, that's the kind of like a main purpose. But still, even after that, if the privacy fail, then what will gonna happen? Okay, if the kind of like let's just say user don't want his privacy, like user want his privacy and kind of like a privacy fail, so in that situation what we're gonna do? Okay, if such thing happen in the entire app level, then I have to be shut down my services. Then there is a lot of things will gonna happen. The stock market crashes and things and that I might gonna kind of like somebody that key bankrupt probably. This might gonna also will gonna happen. Okay, yeah. But I will not gonna think about that. Okay, yeah. Like basically the entire privacy fail in entire global level, then obviously it will be catastrophic. Okay, yeah. But I'm making sure that this will not gonna happen. But more probably this will actually happen. Privacy fail in the kind of like in the person people life. Okay, like people want their privacy, but some people are kind of like somebody that key your compromise get compromised. Okay, your privacy get compromised. So in that situation, what we're gonna do? Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, some user will kind of like find out that key you are this particular person. Okay, and things and that by doing hacking or whatever it is. Okay, yeah. So basically if the user kind of like a thing that his privacy get compromised, so there is a button that he would say this thing that my privacy get compromised. So kind of like somebody is this thing that for his he would not supposed to be access the kind of like basically is this thing, his channel, like his artifact handle is not kind of like somebody that sharing his artifact to the people. His artifact handle would on hold. Okay, yeah. And kind of like kept it hidden from the people. Okay, yeah. For at least like a 1 or 2 3 week, 1 week or maybe 2 3 week, I'm not really sure about that. Okay, yeah. But user can record the artifact, but that artifact will not gonna went public, because the kind of like artifact is a kind of like somebody is saying make the people might gonna kind of like a compromise and things like that. In that situation, people not gonna find that particular handle, people might not gonna comment, people will not gonna listen. It's a kind of like a artifact, that handle is kind of like a kept hidden for a couple of time. Then after that that artifact will kind of like be visible after a couple of weeks with a kind of like a different username. Okay, I'm gonna change the username, change the kind of like a profile picture and things and that. And also is this thing that that artifact will kind of like somebody recommend to the such a people which is kind of like somebody different than the previous people who kind of like somebody compromise their kind of like a identity. Like basically just saying that this particular people have a kind of like a, let's just say 40,000 follower on this artifact platform, but his identity will get compromised, so his his handle is a kind of like a something hidden for at least like a 2-3 week, and after the hidden it went visible, but it not gonna visible for those people, it will visible for different kind of like a people, different cluster of the people. Okay, yeah. And soon after kind of like a years that like after a kind of like a somebody month, that kind of like a things that will implement over here too. Okay, yeah. Let me tell you one thing that na ki if the privacy fail, I have to make sure that I have to be utilize a time, okay, to kind of like a making sure that it would gonna heal the entire process. People are actually forget that who they kind of like things and that and that. Okay, yeah. This is right now I'm thinking. Okay, yeah. In the future I will gonna implement maybe something differently. I'm not really sure about that, but this is what I'm thinking at the moment. So this is what I would gonna do if the privacy gonna fail. All right. So this is it.